The 35, but he's ankle tackled there at the 36. And he's hurt. Mahomes is hurt.
I kind of rolled it a little bit. It didn't feel good, but I was going to leave it all out there.
They're going to throw a quick pass to Tony. He's got it on the edge. Touchdown!
I told y'all at the beginning of the week, there's nothing that's going to keep me off that football field.
Don't underestimate how tough Patrick Mahomes is.
Everything we work for is for this moment. You have to enjoy this moment. You can't let the moment overtake you.
The Chiefs Kingdom will raise a banner above the National Football League again.
Champions once again. Congratulations. Last night, Patrick Mahomes joined Tom Brady as the only other quarterback to lead multiple double-digit Super Bowl comebacks. He's just the 7th player to win the regular season and Super Bowl MVP in the same season, and the youngest quarterback to do so. So, guys, he now has 2 Super Bowl wins, 3 appearances in 5 years. All 5 years went to the AFC Championship game. Dan Orlovsky back here with us. I want to start with you, Stephen A. Can Mahomes get close to Brady's 7 rings?
I think he can. He can, because I think you see the importance of the quarterback position, how dynamic and mercurial he is. As Ryan highlighted, you can't prepare for him. Yeah. To me, there was a bigger question mark coming into this season whether or not he could pull that off, because the last time we saw him in the Super Bowl, even though he was the best player, they had gotten thoroughly outplayed collectively by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and had lost to Tom Brady and those guys. But to lose Tyreek Hill in the offseason, who I consider to be one of the best receivers, one of the top 3 to 5 receivers in the National Football League, if not higher. To lose a Tyreek Hill and to still have the #1 offense in points, in yards, and the #1 passing attack in the National Football League, and then to go in the playoffs to beat Jacksonville, to beat the Cincinnati Bengals, and then to go up against a vaunted Philadelphia Eagles defense, be down 10 points, on one leg basically, and come back and beat them in the second half. When you pull stuff like that off, it's very, very difficult to talk about what you can't do. Mm-hmm. He has shown that there's very little he can't do as a quarterback. And when you consider their structure, the leadership, Andy Reid announced he's coming back after the game. I'm coming back. I'm coming back. He's not retiring. Andy Reid is going to still be there. The ownership led by the Hunts are in place. You have stability in your front office. You have stability with your coaching. And obviously you have Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce, who ain't about to go anywhere for the foreseeable future. And they've got a lot of young guns there. One could easily argue they're in a better situation than Philadelphia, because as Booger McFarland and Steve Young were pointing out last night with Boomer, Patrick Mahomes is already signed. Mm-hmm. He's already taken up 17% of your cap. So as a result of that, you're able to still do things because you've been doing things around his numbers for years. The Eagles got to pay Jalen Hurts. Mm-hmm. And as a result of having to pay him, you're going to have to go out there and let other guys go that helped you get to this point. So I look at it from that perspective and I say, yeah, he can pull it off.
Dan, what are your thoughts? Because, 2 is very impressive, but 7's still a long way away.
Yeah, I absolutely think he can. And because of the player that he is, we have no empirical data from his time as a starter to say that he won't. We have everything that says he's going to be winning division titles, and he's going to be in conference championships, and he's going to go to the Super Bowl. I think the question, Molly, for me, because you guys know where I stand on Patrick. I've got him as the 2nd best quarterback ever, right? So because of all that, I think the thing is, what would make him not get close? And I think that there's a couple things, because if we look at this football team right now, Molly, I tell you this, going into next year, they're right around middle of the pack when it comes to salary cap space, and they'll probably create even more. That's outrageous. Only 2 teams in the NFL this year had more snaps played by rookies than the Kansas City Chiefs. 1, the Chicago Bears. 2, the Houston Texans. They're number 1 and 2 in the picking in the NFL draft. The 3rd team that had rookies play the 3rd most snaps in the NFL this year, the Chiefs won the Super Bowl. That's unheard of, okay? They got 11 draft picks next year. So they're set up to go on even more consistent runs. Why would he fall off, or why would the not get close to 7? How long does Andy Reid coach? And I don't think that, I don't want to discredit Andy Reid. I don't think there's going to be this massive drop-off, but Andy Reid's one of the greatest coaches ever, Hall of Famer. So how long does he coach to be a part of that? I think how well they draft, because you're going to have to supplement. And here's the crazy thing. in 2 or 3 years, Patrick Mahomes is going to be like the seventh most expensive quarterback in football. Right now, he's like second or third. Next year, I think he's third or fourth. So his salary is only going to be a benefit to this football team in the next 3 or 4 years when it comes to how much money he's owed in comparison to the salary cap. I don't see a major issue or a major thing that's going to pop up that is going to hinder Patrick Mahomes from getting another 2 or 3 Super Bowls in the next 5 or 6 years and putting him right around 4 or 5 with the back half of his career still left. Other than injuries, God, forsake that, there's a lot set up for him.
You know what's so crazy is Patrick Mahomes is so good that we're desensitized to how hard it is to win Super Bowls. And Tom Brady won so many, we just automatically think it's possible. Right? And don't get me wrong. I agree that.
I don't automatically think it's 5 more.
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying we, as in the fact that we're having this conversation and it's so normalized. Let's think about when Brady started his career. You had that run. I think it was 03 to 07 where you win. Then I think it was like 14 to 18. But there's a span in that where Brady doesn't win a Super Bowl, where you lose. What was it? 07, and you lose in.
He went 10 years.
Right, you lose in 2011. The reason that Tom Brady's able to reach 7 is because he plays until he's 45. And it's great to think that everybody can play until they're 45, but we haven't seen Drew Brees get to that, who played an incredibly long time. We haven't seen Brett Favre get there. Aaron Rodgers is now tailing off, and we're trying to make a decision. Phillip Rivers, Ben Roethlisberger, none of these players are Patrick Mahomes. But what I'm saying is, even in these extended careers, we don't see people play as long as Tom Brady. You don't get an opportunity to have that low. And though I do feel that Patrick Mahomes is far superior of a talent than all of those quarterbacks, it's just difficult to win them. And when you get there, you say, I'm going to be back the next year. But 7? That's 5 more.
Well, listen, like I said, we're asking the question just to crystallize it for the viewer. We're asking the question because we know he has the skill set and the resume that warrants the question.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So now when we know that warrants the question, let me tell you something, Ryan. I'm not thinking about Patrick Mahomes or anybody else playing 22, 23 years in the NFL. What we should be marveling about with Patrick Mahomes is that, let's just say for the sake of argument, it's 12. Let's cut it in half.
Yep.
We're looking at the possibility that he could pull that off in 12 years. I'm not saying
No, you're right. No, you're right.
It's like wow, because when you started for 5 years and you've never been out of the AFC Championship game in all 5 years.
But I keep bringing it up, and I hate to keep doing basketball. Like, LeBron James has been to 10 championships.
Right.
He only has 4 of them. Like, they're just so hard to win, and he's by far and away the greatest player of his era, the best player. It's so difficult, and I think it's even harder in football, which is why what Tom Brady was able to accomplish is such a phenomenal feat, and I guess I just don't want to discredit that like it could just happen.
I just have to say one thing I feel like we're missing, Dan, and you can jump in on this. Tom Brady also had Bill Belichick for his entire career until that last ring. So Andy Reid is not a spring chicken. I know he's coming back. So for me, it's also dependent not just on the team, and I understand that they're young and his deal will benefit him, but who's going to be his head coach?
That's real.
Yeah, I think that's the question. Real quick, Stephen, that's the question we don't know the answer to. I mean, Andy Reid might coach 5 more years.
It matters.
We don't know, but yeah, it absolutely matters. But I would imagine Andy Reid seems to be having a lot of fun, and I would imagine.
How old is he?
He wants to continue to be a part of that.
Louis Riddick said last night that you don't walk away from a generational talent like Patrick Mahomes at the quarterback position for no reason. He said it takes something going on in your household. It takes something that's bigger than football to pull you away from a Patrick Mahomes when you're a football guy like Andy Reid. So let's say Andy Reid coaches until he's 70, which I believe Bill Belichick is around that age. That's 6 more years.
Yeah.
Right.
To say that this team will be in contention all 6 of those years, it's not hyperbole. They'll have a chance.
Well, I will tell you this as well. First of all,
And then we got gotta wrap it up.
Listen, he's 64 years old, and you don't walk away from a Patrick Mahomes unless, you're just old and you don't have it anymore.
Yeah.
Because you're not going to be miserable coaching that guy.
Of course.
Because,
Ever.
not
Of
just
course.
because of his talent, but because of his character.
Yeah.
And last but not least, as an aside, Andy Reid has now coached 2 black quarterbacks to a Super Bowl. Donovan McNabb, who I interviewed on my podcast, No Mercy, last week, and this man right here. You don't see
Absolutely.
that often.
Stephen A.
We're
can
gonna
you
get
have
into
your sleeve
Reid.
down, though?
What?
Golly.
I know.
The
It's nice.
light
That
keep
is
hitting that
nice.
watch, bro. Can you?
No.
Boy, you cannot hide money. Man.
You're blinded.
I see you didn't put the left arm up, though. Golly. Boy, ESPN
You all right out there?
be
You got
paying.
sunglasses out there?
Nah, I feel like I'm outside still, Dan. Like we shooting NFL Live in Old Town.
Dan thinks he took those
It is
sunglasses.
nice.
Hey,
All
every
right.
time he flashed that watch, ugh.
We got to leave it there. We're going to get into Andy Reid more later, though, if he's one of the greatest coaches of all time. So looking forward to your opinion on that. Still to come, Jalen Hurts silenced the skeptics in last night's all-out duel. Wait till you see where Stephen A. ranks him amongst current quarterbacks. This debate going to get hot. Travis Kelce got the edge in the Kelce Bowl last night, but